much. Today is a moment of reckoning, call to renewal and hope for the people of Ghana. Patriots of our great elephant family, distinguished delegates, and fellow countrymen. For me, this is a very solemn moment, a defining moment in the history of our great party, the New Patriotic Party, and indeed in the history of our beloved country, Ghana. We stand at crossroads, undoubtedly. The soul of our party cries out for rescue. The spirit of our nation tests for renewal and transformation to usher in a leadership with a clear vision for us to return to our roots. Roots where politics was a noble calling, not a marketplace to trade parochial interests. Not a place where votes are for the highest bidder, to buy even with foul means. Our tradition was never about money. It was founded on sound values, virtues, and a spirit of volunteerism. Unfortunately, in recent years, we have seen an erosion of what this tradition stood for. We are not where we would like to be, so the path ahead for us is to go out there and choose leaders who have integrity, who have character, empathy, emotional intelligence, worthy of leading. And above all, we need leaders with a new, compelling vision for Ghana's sustained development. The NPP of today is totally unrecognizable from the movement we fashioned out of adversity in 1992. Yes, we must acknowledge the pain we have inflicted on our party faithful and Ghanaians in general, and learn some useful lessons. But we should not be imprisoned by this. What we face now is never about setting dates for presidential primaries or tinkering even with the electoral college. No. Today is about renewing and reviving the soul of our MPP. Our country too is hurting. After nearly 7 decades of existence, public office, which was once a noble calling, has now become a mine to loot the public treasury. Our governance architecture has become a systemic failure, epitomized by a catastrophic healthcare system and much more. This past month, the nation tragically lost 2 sons, one an emergency physician and the other a lawmaker. They were lost not because of the complexities of their ailments, but rather due to the locational disparities in healthcare access in Ghana. Prudent action is urgently needed to prioritize the many ongoing health projects in our country, and deploy existing health resources more efficiently, effectively, and intelligently. I also identify with a call for mandatory basic life support training for all of us, as well as the procurement of automated external defibrillators that ordinary citizens can be trained to use and to save lives when need be. The youth, who make up close to 60% of Ghana's population, continue to suffer an unemployment rate of around 19%. And even among the working, 6 out of 10 earn wages that keep them trapped in poverty. A generation that should be dreaming big now survives on quick loans, crippling private loans with unsustainable interest rates. The educated young elite, the very class I once saw as the MPP as its natural home, have abandoned us because we, the party of progress, the party that lifted Ghana to middle income status, have drifted dangerously from our values. Fellow patriots, We must confront the truth. Our party is in dire straits. Many in our ranks stand disillusioned, disunited, dispirited, and demoralized. But this is not a time for despair. It's a time for honest reflection and decisive action. This is the moment of leadership. And let me appeal to you directly, my brothers and sisters who form the Electoral College. You, delegates, you carry the sacred responsibility of choosing our next leader of our tradition. Remember, the decision you make will echo far beyond this election. It will decide whether our party rises again or sinks further. Let me speak to the danger of selling one's future for momentary monetary comfort, even from the very hands that have caused us our misery. Patriots, I implore you to resist the temptation to sometimes yield to monetization of elections. This cannot continue. We must break this cycle of manipulation. Delegates, vote for values. Vote for principles. Vote for a leader who has proven over decades that others matter more, and that leaders must work in service of the people they want to lead. Ghana deserves better. It's unacceptable that after 68 years of independence, our GDP per capita still struggles around $2,300. In countries like Singapore, Malaysia, South Korea, our peers at independence have moved far ahead. Let's hold our leaders accountable. We have to question political leaders who have amassed wealth for themselves and their families, while the masses continue to struggle to meet their basic needs. We must support lawful prosecution of the elite who have plundered the public treasury, and this should not serve partisanship. Today, as we unveil this office to house my campaign headquarters, we begin a crucial journey, a redemption mission, to restore our cherished values of service, sacrifice, and selflessness back into our body politic. I call this the Triple S doctrine of leadership. I, Engineer Kwabena Agyapong, present myself to you as the most viable candidate, offering a new dawn, a new dimension, and a new direction. Yes, indeed, I come to you with a clear message. It is time for us to usher in a new dawn, a drastic departure from the status quo that has been associated with our party in recent times. A new dawn where the Npp with its commerce is sold, where the culture of hard work, meritocracy, integrity, and professionalism is restored to our ranks and in the larger society, where decency, civility, and ethics define who we are. A new dawn where Ghana builds a fair economy that works for everyone, a salary regime that rewards productivity and restores faith in public service, where we unlock the full value of agriculture, creating wealth along the value chain from the farm through our factories to our markets, where the youth are inspired, rejuvenated, not with slogans, but with real opportunities in education, sports, tourism, and entrepreneurship. As a civil engineer, I will lead the regeneration of our urban environment and the renewal of our rural areas to improve livelihoods as we work towards the attainment of our SDGs. This is not a dream, and by the grace of God, I have the courage, the competence, the compassion, and the moral fortitude to lead this renewal. All my life, through thick and thin, through some of the very painful moments that have redefined the very framework of our democratic journey, I've lived for three things: to understand people, to love people, and to genuinely help people. Yes, indeed, life has taught me to feel the pain of others and to express real empathy to all manner of people, close and afar. Destiny forced me early in my life into this life of responsibility. I was just a young man of 20 years when I lost my dad, the late Justice Kwabena Agyapong, High Court judge and defender of rule of law, kidnapped and brutally murdered with three others in the infamous 30th June 1982 abductions. That dark chapter in Ghana's history that gave us the martyrs of the rule of law. This tragedy could have broken me forever, but I chose to endure. I chose to serve. I chose to live in a way that will honor my father's legacy of dignified service, justice, and fairness. My long-standing dedicated service to this party is a matter of public record. I have dutifully served all our flag bearers since the onset of the Fourth Republic. As a young activist, presenting the NPP's party political broadcast on GTV in 1992 during the Adubuahin campaign. As press secretary to President Kufuor, as general secretary of the party after my overwhelming victory at the Tamale Congress in 2014. And even after my suspension under bizarre circumstances, I returned to help President Akufo-Addo when he beckoned to help win his re-election in 2020. And in 2023, after contesting the presidential primary, I wholeheartedly supported the eventual winner, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. I've always remained loyal to the elephant, because for me, politics is not about self, it's about our collective welfare. I say this to the glory of God. I say this to the glory of God. It's been I say this to the glory of God. It's been some 30 years of serving this party. I'm very glad to proclaim that I have an unblemished record. I have good relations with every leader of this party you can think of. I'm the bridge between our founding fathers and the future of our party. I have the institutional memory of the NPP because I've been tutored by its giants and grassroots, from B.J. Darocha, J. Kufuor, Nana Akufo-Addo, Apia Minka, Jemfi Bikai, Dr. Safu Edu, J.H. Mensah, Aaron Ponsa, Edu Wahin, Amesimeku, Eke Deku. The list is too long, and my big brother Alan Trematin, and many others. I mention Alan because I believe we must return hope as we rebuild. I learned from them that leadership is not about entitlement. It's about sacrifice. It's about character. It's about loving and helping people. Patriots, this is our moment of truth. You, the delegates, you hold the power to decide whether the NPP rises again as a beacon of hope for Ghana or sinks further into disunity and despair. You have that golden opportunity, delegates, to set aside the growing enmity and adversarial rhetoric which has become a recent feature of our internal politics. You can denounce intellect for all you want, but it won't change the fact that intellect is the ingredient that drives development. I want to be brutally honest, very frank. If we treat ourselves as adversaries, how can we end the trust of Ghanaians? Politics belongs to the ordinary people, not to the squabbles of the contented partisan elites. And I want to repeat here, politics belongs to the grassroots, belongs to the ordinary people, not to the petty squabbles of contented partisan elites. Let's not weigh down this party any further. And this is a very important paragraph. Delegates, let's not weigh down this party any further with a choice that will eventually call for unending efforts of reconciliation, reparations from hate speeches, and all manner of vile deeds. With me, KAA, the NPP has a clear path to unity and victory. We cannot continue to do the same things and expect different results. We need a pair of clean hands, a clear mind, a compassionate heart to lead our nation and our party. I, Kwabena Agyapong, stand ready to work with you, ready to unite our ranks, ready to rebuild, ready to restore hope for our party and every Ghanaian. So let's rise together. Let's return to our roots. Yes, the NPP must of necessity return to our noble roots. Let's make the NPP once again the proud tradition that inspires decent people to join politics under the banner of development and freedom. The time for renewal is now. The time for hope is now. The time for KAA is now. I can't leave this without mentioning my good friend Charles Kodofosu, Daddy Lumba. And I remember Kwame Sifakai constantly on Friday mornings playing the famous Ankwanama tune because the lyrics meant so much to me.
Indeed, to paraphrase Kwame Nkrumah, engineer is not MPP because he was born in MPP. He's MPP because MPP was born in him. Thank you very much, engineer. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel like being politically incorrect, so I will give you something from the quintessential British Prime Minister Winston Churchill. It was Winston Churchill that said, thank you very much, engineer. Thank you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I left something for the last because I wanted the engineer to finish this momentous speech. And I'll do that. Ladies and gentlemen, for anybody who has come even close, the slightest to politics, understand the vagaries of politics. And it is not easy for a family to agree to allow their person to give himself to the country. To this, I'd like you to join me in introducing and welcoming the wife of engineer, Dr. Kwabena Agyapong. Thank you very much, Doc. Thank you to you and the family. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Come forward and let's see.
Ladies and gentlemen, having listened to the speech, we'll take a few questions from the media. Please, you raise your hand, you indicate the media house you are coming from, and then you ask your question. You are taking only 5 questions for now. 5 questions for now. After that, we'll see if we'll add some to it. So I'll call back the engineer to the stage, and then he will take your question. Engineer, please.
The people who were in charge of the country at the time shouldn't be given another chance to lead the the party and the country. On hindsight, going into this election, I believe some of the commentaries will be seen from you and from your other potential aspirants who even been told beyond this personal attack. Thank you very much. When I talk about a new dawn, I talk about the recalibration of our thoughts. I talk about restoring ethics in what we do. We need to create a new politician. Politicians should be able to hold their own to the fire, respectfully and in an ethical manner. Throughout my campaigns, and everybody is a living witness, the language I used was smooth and diplomatic. And if I disagree with people, I disagree with them respectfully. So none of my words were going to be used by the NDC. They were not. So if you want to identify those who did that, it is your duty as a journalist to do so. I did not do so during my campaign. I spoke the truth about what I saw was a threat to our victory in 2024 by a reasonable, respectful caution that we needed to make some adjustments in 2022. And I was very open about it. But I wasn't the president, and I cannot force the president to make changes. So please, I believe in good messaging, that we respect one another as politicians. And so that is going to be my style during this campaign. If you listen to what I said, I'm very firm, straight to the point. I think it's the change that we deserve. Number two, I believe that every dedicated patriot, after this campaign, and I'm very hopeful that I'm going to be able to convince the 300,000 delegates to vote my way. I'm going to be able, by the force of my message, I'm going to be able to do so. But in politics, you can never tell. You have to be reasonable. I have always supported the eventual winner in any contest. And that's what I expect every dedicated patriot to do. So I want to stand here and also make that firm commitment that whoever the delegates elect, I will give my full support to that person. But I'm going to work hard to ensure that I am the one who gets elected. And so I don't understand why the media, some of your colleagues, want to penalize people for supporting their own candidate. If you are a dedicated patriot and you go into an election and you are not successful, it is your fiduciary duty to support the voice of the party. That should not be used as a penalty against you. So please, those comments I don't accept. I think all of us supported Dr. Bawumia. It does not mean that our political careers have come to the end. No. That electoral cycle ended on December 7th. Unfortunately, we could not make it. We did our best, we couldn't make it. And this is a new electoral cycle. I think today the party has just opened nominations. And by God's grace, by strange coincidence, I'm the first person to declare my intention to run. Thank you. I hope I've answered your question.
You have my vote.
Friend me Charles Mensa, because I'm will take effect. Oh, Umasi. Now, we hear 2022 year as a coin now. Roma, Uncle Amawa. This year, 2025, I declare say, oh, Queen. At the end, the area floor, every grassroots for now. Wait me about the area free and free over.
Question you Kasa as a journalist and answer grassroots because grassroots do you represent
the one of you hear the grassroots for no air canal. The more a table almost to say.
So this is a national platform. And although I'm an account, I want everybody as Ghanaians to be part of what we discuss. Most often than not, we are unfair to our colleagues who may not understand account. Was Minianu was saying, if you want to, they need to understand what is going on. And I think you are riding on what I've been fighting against. That this country has been gripped by what I call, I don't even know how to describe it. monetization of our politics. So there is no more sacrifice, there's no more dedication, there is no more patriotism. Politics is about service. And if we believe that politics is only about what we will get, that we get into government and we and our parties just share it as a piece of cake, that cannot be right for this country. We need to rebuild the country. That is why I talked about reorientation of the Ghanaian. And we as the politicians, we should lead it. If you are a dedicated patriot and a grassroots person, what you need from your government is to build a solid environment and economy that can allow you to thrive, whether you are in Pusiga, you are in Hamile, Hafasini, or Keta, all the four corners of our country. So it is not about just satisfying our grassroots. Yes, they matter. And I'm one who am elected and become president. I'll make sure that the stipends that they deserve, they will get. But that should not be the focus. We should not be carried away by materialism. And that is what is destroying our country. And we, the people of Ghana, have become enablers. Sometimes when people get into political office, we are the same people who are urging them on. They are not able to rebuild their estate. Me, I served as press secretary to the president for close to 6 years. I did not add to my real estate because I believed in serving my country. I had built my real estate from the sweat and toil as a civil engineering consultant. That is my profession. So that is what I expect everybody to do. So please, people are running around talking as if they represent some grassroots. Me too, I'm grassroots. Are you not grassroots? Grassroots. Because I'm a camera, my party for nothing. Say, you better do my thing here, picture or minus a year. So that's how we are carpenter. We are farmer. Maybe I will be which part of the country, whether you are in Kintampo or you are in Hohoi, Memphis Central, you have your share of the national cake. This emphasis on SEPA to be back, then we have to share it up to our party people. I don't share that. Even if at the risk of me not getting the vote that I deserve, I'm prepared to speak the truth to ensure that we change the mindset of the country. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. My name is Samuel Aboba. I work with TV Africa. My question has to do with
Good afternoon. My name is Andy Sefa from Asasi Radio. Congratulations on your bid, and I wish you well. First of all, the party has decided to use the top-down approach instead of the down-top approach. You have decided to take the lead to announce officially your presidential bid. If you secure the party's nomination as the presidential candidate for the New Patriotic Party, what specific steps will you take to bring all factions or divisions within the party to ensure a united front for the New Patriotic Party ahead of 2028? Thank you.
I'm naturally a unifier. As I said, I worked with Professor Dubois. I worked with President Kufuor. I worked with Nana Dankwa Kufuor, and I supported Dr. Bawumia. I don't believe in factions. I don't. In 1992, when Professor Dubois won, I never heard anybody refer to any NPP person as Kodria Nipa or Alagete Nipa or somebody else. We were all united behind the winner of the party, of the election. Right now, it's a recent phenomenon. So I'm a symbol of the unity of this party. I believe that electing me will send a strong signal. Because I believe that right now, anybody who feels sidelined and happy, I'm like their president. If there's anybody within this political tradition who's gone through difficulty, I would say so in all humility, that I represent them. I've been through it. And me standing as the leader of our party or the flag bearer of our party will encourage all those people. That is why I fronted this proposal to have included all the former executives who have served this party. I started and I pushed it very hard. Unfortunately, a lot of it was accepted. So today you have former MPs, former constituency executives, former DCs, former ministers, who are also going to be part of the electoral college. I would have been happier if the grassroots, the former polling station executives, they are the majority. And that is where there's a lot of sacrifice without anything in return. If they have been given the voting right as well. But they say in life, we take our steps before we run. So it's in the right direction. And I do hope that eventually we can get each and every one who has a card-bearer member, and who's paid their dues to be able to exercise that franchise. So I'm very confident that we'll reach there very, very soon under my leadership.
My name is Kwabena Agyapong. We saw you jump straight to go and support you as party may want you to do. The question here is that politics of integrity and credibility. You touched on that. You gave your party a bad verdict, but yet still
it's important, please. Let's be very serious about what we do here. You are a general.
I'm very serious.
I have a right to criticize.
You did?
Yes.
It
does not mean that
I understand where I'm coming from.
The question is, you haven't finished. I thought you had finished.
No, I'm not finished. You interrupted me. So I'm asking, if you told us that Bawumia was not fit to be president,
did I ever tell you Bawumia was not fit?
Never. From where?
Where did I say that? So please, don't be sensational here. Let's go to the point. I've heard what you have said. When I was delivering my point, I said the nation will not embrace us if we bring the status quo. That was my pitch as a candidate. It does not mean that when the elections are over and we have elected someone, I shouldn't go and serve it. So I've done that. So I respectfully disagree with your view that we can ask more than one question. We ask two questions. Please, let somebody else talk. Let somebody else talk.
My name is Thomas Santa. I'm from Very White. Specifically, Guide Radio 91.5 from DBT.
Hello, please. Okay, please. There's a question on the floor, please.
Thank you. Yeah, so once again, my name is Thomas Santa. I work with Daily Guide, specifically Guide Radio and BGN I've followed you for some years now, and throughout your political journey, one can say that all the time that you've got the opportunity to speak on behalf of the party, the reconciliatory in any of your utterances. And that's something that I would like to commend you for. But I have a question for you. You said that the youth contribute about 60% of our population. And with your background as an engineer, when given the opportunity to lead the country as president, what are some of the special skills that you have that gives hope to the youth of the country? That's the question I have for you.
Thank you very much. I think that I'm someone who connects with the youth. And I have a program to bring the youth into the mainstream of our economic model. I have believed always in the German model where the distribution of the national cake has to be equitable. And I've said it before. I think Ghana is too urban-based in the way we distribute our natural resources. And I mentioned three things. Emphasis on tourism, emphasis on entrepreneurship, emphasis on sports, we can become a big business in our country, and emphasis on agriculture, the value chain of agriculture. And I mentioned it in my speech, right from the farm through the factories to our markets. Those are the ones that can give the opportunities to the teeming youth. One thing we should not forget, Ghana has seen a dramatic increase in our population over the last 20 years. And of course, the infrastructure and all that we have is under strain. I believe in the youth. I believe in getting them entrepreneurial skills, making sure that they can be part of the global village. So those ideas I've always espoused, and I'll continue to do so. So the youth can be reassured that with a leader like myself, we'll be able to rebuild their confidence. I trust that we can help the youth to lead the transformation of our country. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Fanti Shanibu Ali. I work with Happy with her. Engineer, you mentioned in your speech, you raised concern about the over-monetization of politics in this country. And just this morning, your party has announced filing fees and picking of forms, how much they are taking, and it has almost doubled as against the last one that you had. How do you feel about this?
Normally when you attend the National Council, which I'm a member because I'm a former General Secretary, you don't want to talk about things that were detailed there. But whatever was announced today, I believe was a lot because of the intervention I made in that meeting. There were some who were suggesting some figures, I don't want to mention, in the room, to scare some of us from being in this race. But I got up, I stood up, I told them to beware of the image that we are presenting to the Ghanaian people outside. I suggested, for the last time, picking a form was 50,000. To be fair, to move it 100,000, you have to be seen to be serious. If you want to part with 100,000, you know that you are really serious about what you're doing. And that's when you are coming to file. At that point, I was suggesting another addition of 400 to make it 5. And then we said, okay, let's stop it with 100, let the 500 separate. I think in politics, it is not your personal money. There are people who are supporting me, who believe in my philosophy, in my drive. And all the things you see, you know that I've been ostracized for about 10 years. So it may be tough financially, but they are backers, people who believe in my dream for a new Ghana, for a new direction and a new dimension. So yes, it is tough, but I'm going to be able to do that. Thank you for your question.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Maurice Boju from XN Media. Honorable, please, I've been following you for a while, even when you were doing the sports on TV and other places. I've been following you, are very good, and I find gentleman. You always speak to unified people. You just made a statement that you have seen an erosion of what the party Npp stood for. It is not the first time you are vying for such a position. When you are giving the nod, what would be the magic to, when you are giving the nod, what would be the magic to then bring that glory and the status back to the people?
Ghanaians are a very law-abiding people, but it takes a lot of signals from the top, the leadership. And I've been in government, served as press secretary to President Kufuor for close to 6 years. And I believe it's leadership by example that drives this kind of change. When the top instills discipline, enforces law and order, and makes sure that we create a competent state, a state that can enforce its own laws and make sure people do the right thing. We will be able to do that. Have confidence that we'll be able to do that. We as political leaders have to lead by example. We have to be selfless. We need a critical mass of public-spirited individuals who have empathy. Who have empathy. And when that happens, the Ghanaians, they will pick up that signal and they will go with us together. So the materialism that has gripped our country, where today, even if you ask someone to go and paste the poster, they are looking for stars. In our time, it was never there. Everybody had that spirit of voluntarism, that dedication, that determination to give something to the country and to the party. Not what you get out of the country or the party. All the developed world, they have survived and become who they are today because their leaders were prepared to sacrifice and contribute. So I want to assure you, see, I've rolled my sleeves. I want to put Ghana on a war footing, roll our sleeves, restore the culture of hard work, meritocracy, professionalism, back to our workplaces. There's too much political tinkering in our public service, and I've been always against it, both in our military, in the police,